And the idea that this is being done in the effort to preserve public safety, I think is belied by the other executive action taken by the president just yesterday, where the President Trump pardoned hundreds of felons who violently attacked police officers on January 6th. The decision to release violent criminals into our community makes America less safe. More than 1,500 criminals were pardoned, including, and I'll just mention three, Steve Cappuccio, who ripped off Officer Daniel Hodges' gas mask and beat him in the face while he was stuck in a door, and the attack was so violent that Cappuccio held his phone in his mouth so he could beat Officer Hobbs with both hands. DJ Rodriguez, who joined a mob attacking Officer Michael Fanone and repeatedly shocked him in the neck with a taser, causing him to lose consciousness and suffer a heart attack. And David Dempsey, who climbed over other rioters to get officers where he stomped on at least one officer's head, beat officers with a flagpole, a crutch, and a broken piece of furniture, and sprayed officers' faces with pepper spray. Don't tell me that the motivation for immigration crackdown is public safety when we release these violent criminals back into our communities.
It is rich to decry the pardons of President Trump, yet failed to even insult, discuss, address places like San Diego, which have just become a super sanctuary city, or the California state itself with its sanctuary policies.
Ms. Vaughn, did the Biden administration improve the immigration system and border security?
No, the Biden administration dismantled the controls, guardrails, limits, and turned programs into purposes for which they were never
Every
intended.
community on the border knows they did it. Yeah, we just had a 5-minute conversation. Oh, well, things are just wonderful. Joe Biden was the greatest. Mr. Fabricatore, you've been out on the front lines. You've dealt with this. Did the Biden administration improve the immigration system and border security?
No, we have more illegal alien criminals on the street today because of the Biden administration.
Yeah, they're trying to say, don't believe your lying eyes. Of course we know it's gotten worse. Earlier, Mr. Newman, you said, I think you said, the Biden administration invited the crisis. I think you're being nice when you use the word invited. I think they intentionally, deliberately, what's my opening statement, willfully created the crisis. And I want to know, why would they do that? Why would an administration deliberately create the chaos we have seen, upwards of 10 million people coming in the country, these border communities? It's interesting, these border communities, that's been the biggest change in voting Democrat to voting Republican has taken place in those communities because they've felt it firsthand. We were in Yuma, Mr. Biggs brought this up, we were in Yuma, Arizona. The cost to the education system, the healthcare system, the public services in those communities, unbelievable. So why would they intentionally, why would they do this? That's what I've been trying to figure out. Why would an administration say we're going to deliberately create the chaos that 77 million Americans, I think all Americans know, has taken place over the last 4 years?
I can't pretend to know the motive of the administration, but what
I'm asking you to hazard a guess as an expert in this area.
Looking at what they've done and looking at the policies, what's very clear is that there's been an intentional desire to get as many people into the country as possible and keep them here.
Ms. Vaughn, can you take a run at that question? Why would they do it? I think all kinds of Americans ask that question. Why would our government do this to our nation?
Because they don't want any limits on immigration, and because no one could stop them.
All of these originalists and textualists who claim to care about what the Constitution stands for, that was the whole purpose and meaning of the 14th Amendment, and now they want to destroy birthright citizenship in America, moving to a citizenship based on race instead of a citizenship based on place, which was the whole purpose of the 14th Amendment, to overturn the Dred Scott decision. Well, we're obviously going to have some differences moving forward because they don't want real solutions. They just want to demagogue the immigration issue. That doesn't move America forward. It's just like they demagogue the issue of inflation.
Mr. Newman, in regards to categorical parole, the Mariana Islands, the CNMI, they have a program like that where there's no visa needed for people to be able to come in. Isn't that a version of birthright citizenship?
Yeah, as I understand it, it's become a major issue of birth tourism in CNMI. People just basically coming in to get U.S. citizenship.
So you have Chinese nationals coming in to this territory, and they're able to have a child there, and the child becomes a citizen.
Yeah, it's absurd. It shouldn't exist in a modern civilization.
Doesn't that seem like that could be a national security threat with all we know about communist China?
Absolutely.
The reality is that cutting lawful pathways only exacerbates the crisis at the border. For instance, the decision to end the CPB-1 app, which was essential to make sure that people could come when they knew they had an appointment. And we actually saw people at the border using that app when we did our CODEL to the southern border. Getting rid of it threatens to upend progress, threatens chaos, and it is not a solution for unlawful migration. Additionally, we must consider the humanitarian and economic consequences of mass deportations. Deporting every undocumented immigrant in the country would destroy families, devastate industries, and make our economy less secure.
People are going to try to come in order to fill that demand. We saw it under the Trump administration, the Bush administration, the Obama administration, the Clinton administration. You can go all the way back. As long as there's no legal way for them to fill jobs, they're going to come illegally. And whether you could say greater or lesser extent, they're going to come, and we're going to continue to deal with this problem. And the most critical area is that right now for lesser skilled jobs, there is no visa, no work visa at all for year-round jobs not requiring a college degree. So where are all the people who are crossing the border going? They're going into those jobs. So we absolutely need to reform our legal immigration system.
Let me tell you, to the mother or the father or the son or the daughter that loses somebody, one is enough. And to have this intellectual argument as we sit here in our comfortable chairs in our warm room where Lake and Riley, for example, fought for 20 minutes not to be raped, and then finally was beaten so badly and her skull crushed in that she lost her life while her mother was calling her, wondering where she was. That's what matters to me. So, you know, today's theme is a simple one. Actions have consequences. President Biden's dozen of executive orders, they crippled our border security and opened up the floodgates of the southern border. That is a fact. Mr. Baer, I don't care what you say, it's a fact. We see it, we feel it. That's why Americans know it. That's why the election that occurred.
No matter what type of city you're in, I do want to be clear, federal law already, no matter if it's under the Biden administration or if it's under a Republican administration, we all agree that we want to be safe. And I think that's the first premise that we're losing, because there isn't something that is tatted on my head that says that I'm a Democrat and therefore you illegal bad person, don't come for me, go for the ones that have the R's on their forehead. Now,